It seems that Facebook, while it's banned in China, is really trying to crack the market there. And so what they've done is share data with Huawei, and U.S. Intelligence Committee has warned against sharing data with Huawei because of its ties to the Communist Party. I mean, now you got to be concerned with Facebook. I mean, you know, they're sharing data with the Chinese and they're sharing data with the Russians. I mean, they say unintentionally, but Facebook was aware that there was Russian influence with fake news even before the 2016 elections. It's just a matter of the more data they amass. I mean, China is really filling the void across the world diplomatically. I mean, if you look at the American, there's all these State Departments or all these consulates that have all these people that aren't there all across the world. China is now, where the United States was the leader, China is trying to take the lead role, across the world. And I think it's just a matter of ultimately this is just another aspect for China to do that, to take their role as the top superpower in the world. One of the things that users can now be certain about is that they have a lot more friends than they realized. They have a lot of friends in China, and this is an interesting thing that Facebook wants to build experiences, but really, do you need your experience, your relationship status, shared with the Chinese or the Russians or anyone else? It's a concern because for most people, they don't really, they kind of give up their views. But as this is becoming more and more of an issue, because the EU has really cracked down on this with its GDPR policy, and basically America should be doing the same thing ultimately. The question is, do you want your private data in the hands of the Chinese military, or the Russian intelligence? I mean, I think that that's the concern here, and people should be concerned. I think look at it carefully. Facebook is now providing you with a copy of what they have on you, and so to the extent that you can make as many things private and opt out of things, I think people should do that. It just takes effort, and it takes a time to do that. Even in some cases, I haven't looked at it that closely, but I have, in light of all the stuff that's come out. I mean, you got to wonder with Facebook whether they're going to sell to the Chinese your face, and because now Facebook, you can access it by just looking at your phone. You can now enter it. So what other data is being shared? And they say that it's not on their servers, but potentially this could target individuals that if you're an important person, if you're a senator, you're a congressman. I think it's more a concern for the intelligence community. I mean, China has been suspected for years of mounting cyber attacks, and the issue in 2012 was attributed to North Korea when they hacked Sony studios, but there's no doubt China had some influence in that. So I think for the average person, they're not going to think about it, but for people across the board from an intelligence perspective, you have a rival having access to the habits of Americans, and I think that's a concern.